everybody. Happy Friday. There I am. Hi there. Carson Meredith with you from the Wave House Studios, filling in for Mr. Brian Good, who has the Friday off. Hope you're well. Hope you're staying cool. We're back to reality, unfortunately, as we get towards this weekend and into next week and maybe beyond that. The heat has returned, and it is here to stay, it appears. And this time around, there's not much relief from that heat. So all in all, the next 10 days here at home, fairly quiet. But we do have some storm chance to talk about as we head into next week, Tuesday and Wednesday in particular. So we'll look at that. And we'll also discuss the tropics. No major threats to the U.S. for now. Emphasize the phrase for now. Things could get interesting in a couple of weeks. And we will discuss that over the next few minutes. Let me get you outside to downtown Bardstown. Not bad, huh? Beautiful morning. It's quiet. It is muggy, but it's more tolerable. It's not extreme heat. It's not intense heat just yet. It's just what you would expect on a typical August morning. Bright blue skies, few clouds, a little bit of sunshine peeking through those clouds, of course. 75, our current temperature here in Louisville. Dew point is 71. It's humid, for sure. It's not unbearable, though, and that, thankfully, is going to be our saving grace here as we enter this newest heat wave that will likely start today. Most of us are going to top out in the upper 80s to low 90s this afternoon, and it's basically a copy and paste forecast every single day when it comes to the temperatures for the next 10 days. Now, when you look at the heat index, again, it's there today. You notice those actual temperatures top out around 91, but it may feel more like 95 or 96 instead. So, not the worst we've had so far this summer, but it's still enough to where you want to take it easy outside over the next few weeks, really. There's really no signs of this pattern letting up anytime soon. So this heat is going to be sticking around now that it has returned. Fortunately, because the humidity levels are a little bit lower than what we've had so far this summer, the radar should be pretty quiet. We've got this ridge of high pressure out to our west that keeps building east over wave country in the days to come. And that'll keep most of those rain chances on the lower side, 10, maybe 20%. So that'll be the case through this weekend and into Monday. But by Tuesday and Wednesday, there will be a front moving nearby, and that'll give us a better shot for a few showers and storms by then. Otherwise, you look at the sticky meter, it's holding steady in that humid to muggy range. In other words, you're going to notice it. You definitely notice that humidity as you're stepping outside today, and that's going to be the case throughout the weekend and into early next week. Not miserable, but it'll certainly be there in the days ahead. Let's jump to the comments, see who's here early on this Friday. Carrie says hello. Jacob says hi to Wavy. You guys like our new pal here on Wave Weather Now? Wavy is watching 24/7. He's not AI. He is a bot that is basically going to fetch those alerts as they come in 24/7, 365. Now, you're not going to see Wavy a ton when the weather is quiet like this, but when it's active, Wavy's going to be your first alert for any watches or warnings or damage reports as they come in. Traffic as well. He'll give you the first look at any traffic issues that we'll have going forward. Pretty cool to have Wavy on our team now. Sean says hello from North Myrtle Beach. Hope you've had a good trip down there, Sean. Hopefully the weather will be good on his way back tomorrow. Other than the typical pop-ups, I think you'll be okay heading back tomorrow. Safe travels. That's a long and tough drive for sure. Blues here. Michelle's watching in Webster. Kathy's watching in Trimble County. While Carson appears. Yeah, right? Back-to-back Fridays. I'm making a special appearance. So, yeah, hope everybody's doing good. And, you know, we'll keep this short and sweet today because there's really not much to talk about. Obviously, as we mentioned, the humidity's back. That's why we called it false fall last weekend, because it's still early August and this heat is not going anywhere. As we head into next weekend, or this upcoming weekend rather, same old, maybe a degree or two hotter, than what we'll have today. Our forecast high today is 91. We go to 92 on Saturday and then 93 on Sunday. It looks like Sunday and Monday will be the days where the heat is at its most intense. And even then, it's just going to peak around 93 degrees with that heat index maybe as high as 98 to 100. Still rough, but not necessarily that 105 plus like we've had to deal with at times so far this summer. So pretty typical for early to mid-August. And again, with this ridge of high pressure building back in, that's really going to put a lid on any downpours that we might have. So, you know, we've been pretty lucky this summer as far as avoiding a drought. I'm afraid that luck's going to run out over the next couple of weeks because we've got a lot of dry, mostly dry, and pretty hot days ahead. The one potential opportunity we have for some wet weather to kind of delay our drought would be Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. A very typical August setup here. Front tries to dive in from the north and west. And as it gets closer, especially by Tuesday, there'll be a little more force in the air, force in the atmosphere, I should say, for those scattered showers and storms. So we're looking at about a 30% chance on Tuesday in particular. It looks as though the front will be closest to us by Wednesday, so by the middle of next week. But here's the problem. As is very common the case this time of year, the front's going to try to get here, but then it's going to retreat back to the north and east. So it's not going to be like the front last week that actually swept through and brought in that cooler feel. It's going to get close, and then it's going to retreat back north and east as we get towards the end of next week. So when that front is closest to us is when the storm chances will likely be at their highest. And that for now appears to be Wednesday. For the time being, we'll keep that chance around 30% because we want to look over more data just to make sure that timing stays on track. But I will say Wednesday will likely have to bump up those storm chances in future updates. It's not a washout day on Wednesday, but there will be more scattered storms for the middle of the week compared to what we'll be having this weekend. So Tuesday and Wednesday look to be the wettest days, Wednesday especially. No severe weather threat, or not a significant one. The main issue would be heavy rain causing maybe some minor flooding issues here or there. So that's the storyline for the middle of the week. And as we mentioned, that front's going to get hung up, likely just to our north, along I-70, up closer to Indianapolis and Columbus, Ohio. And then it's going to retreat to the north and northeast. That also means that once the rain chances drop as the front moves out, it stays hot and it stays humid. So again, this is a pattern that is very common in August, but it's also very tough to break down. So there's not much change in the outlook over the next 10 days. You see that front starts to retreat back to the north and east. We get towards Friday into next weekend, and that'll just keep it hot and humid and also give us some small pop-up chances each afternoon, around 20%. But that's the storyline here at home, guys. I mean, we're not going to sugarcoat it. It's pretty mundane for this time of year, for sure. Which honestly, given how crazy this year has been, that's not totally a bad thing, if you ask me. All right, let's talk about the tropics because things are getting busy out there in the Atlantic. We had Dexter way up here. You see it on satellite, what's left of it. Dexter has faded away. So everybody say goodbye to Dexter. Now we've got two systems left to watch, one of which is this low right over the open water. I mean, it's way out there by itself. And then we still have this very unorganized system a few hundred miles off the coast of the Carolinas. Both of these earlier this week looked like a pretty solid chance of becoming named storms. But over the last couple of days, things have weakened just a bit, especially with the system closer to the Carolinas. So here's the numbers at this point. We'll start with the yellow blob out here. closer to the East Coast. Only a 10% chance now of development in the next 48 hours, really. If we don't have development in the next 48 hours, I think this system is not going to materialize, which is good. It wouldn't cause any impacts for the U.S. anyway, but I don't think it's going to be a big problem. This system out over the open water, the orange blob, if you will, now has a 50-50 shot to becoming a named, organized tropical system. That is down from 60%, I believe, was the peak just yesterday, just this morning, in fact. So confidence is dropping a little bit in both of these systems developing. Neither of these systems look like they're going to cause a problem for the U.S. There was some worry initially that this open water system may try to go south into the Caribbean, but that no longer appears to be the case. If it does become an organized system, it looks like it's going to curve back out over the open water, which is good. So at this stage of the game, there are no threats to the U.S. With these two systems in particular. However, look at the far right side of your screen. See that little disturbance off the coast of Africa? This one could be interesting in about 10 to 14 days. As we get towards, let's say, August 20th, 21st, 22nd. You're probably seeing everybody freaking out about it on social media. But there is a general idea that, be it this wave or maybe another one that develops off the western coast of Africa, will not necessarily curve out over open water and perhaps go further south, head into the Caribbean, and potentially ride up the eastern seaboard in about 2 weeks. And when you look at the GFS and Euro that came in overnight, not only is the placement pretty similar, as you see Wavy giving us a new update, just letting us know that he's always here 24/7. But anyway, the GFS and Euro that came out overnight, they're suggesting that this system could potentially be a hurricane that rides up the eastern seaboard in about 2 weeks. Way too early to get into specifics. There's not even a system to watch at this point by the National Hurricane Center. But as you've probably seen on social media, there's at least some suggestions that there could be a little tropical trouble close to the U.S. by about the 21st or 22nd of August. So that's kind of your initial heads up that we may have some trouble towards the end of the month in the tropics. Right now, we're good. If you're heading down to Myrtle Beach or Florida the next week or so, you're fine. It's towards the 21st or 22nd where we may have to pay attention to things just a little bit. All right? Let's go to the 10-day, and we'll wrap this up. Again, I'm not going to waste time rambling on because it's pretty quiet. It's pretty hot, too. 92 today. We actually bumped that up here in the last few minutes. So I misspoke when I said 91 earlier. 92 today, 92 tomorrow, 93 on Sunday. Now, as we get those higher storm chances Tuesday and Wednesday, we may see those temperatures knocked down a little bit, more like upper 80s instead. But that's really the only reprieve we have in the heat anytime soon. As we get towards next weekend, we dry things out, we heat things back up. So a pretty stagnant weather pattern ahead. We'll just have to watch that front as it gets closer to us by the middle of next week. That's going to bump up our storm chances Tuesday and Wednesday in particular. Any questions before we wrap this up this morning? I don't want to keep you too long. Hopefully everybody's staying cool. Hopefully all the kiddos didn't have any troubles heading to the bus stop yesterday or things like that. Let's see. Shonda says hello. Good morning. Kellyanne, good morning in Germantown. Nikki's here. I'm here, so that means it must be Friday. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Morgan says hello on YouTube. Sean says, for some reason, excuse me, for some reason, the 100% humidity we had where Sean is at down in Myrtle Beach was nowhere near as bad as the humidity in Kentucky. Sean, you can, by and large, thank the sea breeze for that, especially right there in Myrtle Beach. That nice sea breeze will do wonders in making that humidity not feel quite as miserable. So that's your friend down there. We don't have much of a sea breeze up here, here in Wave Country. David said, just my luck flying to Orlando on August 21st. Yeah. And David, again, as we said, excuse me, this is not a system to watch at this point as we get towards that 21st, 22nd time frame, but the models have been suggesting some kind of trouble nearby in the tropics around that time. So just keep checking back with us over the next 10 to 14 days to see where that system may or may not be heading. Hopefully, it's nothing, and if it does develop, it stays way out in the open water. But the models have at least been hinting at something near the U.S. in that 21st, 22nd time frame, so that we'll have to keep an eye on it. So that's just kind of that first alert that we may have to babysit the tropics a little more by then. But that's where we are at this point, guys. Again, just a hot August weekend ahead. I hope you enjoyed last weekend, because you may not get a weekend like that again maybe until September or October. Looking like this heat is going to be here to stay a bit. All right, guys, that's going to do it for now. Appreciate you tuning in. I will be on our midday newscast at 11. You also catch me this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And I'll be here this weekend as well, doing our usual updates. If you don't tune in on weekends, we encourage you to do so. I do an update here on Wave Weather Now and all of our social platforms around 7:15 each weekend evening. So if you got nothing going on this weekend, you're trying to stay cool, you want to talk about weather some more, I hope you'll tune in each evening here on Wave Weather Now this weekend as well. All right, guys, I'll see you again on TV at 11 on Wave News Midday, and I'll see you this weekend, too. Take care. We'll see you soon.